Mario is probably the most iconic video game character of all time. Over the past 40 years, Mario has ran across 2D platforms, raced in countless karting games, ran across 2D platforms, played golf with his friends, ran across 2D platforms, gone to space, and has run across 2D platforms. I'm sensing a theme. Even though Mario has had such a variety of games, each with different and unique gameplay, some of the most famous and frequent have been the classic 2D side-scrollers. All the way back in 1985, Super Mario Bros. Was released, and to this day it's pretty easy to say that it might be one of the most recognizable games in the entire history of gaming. It's still the best-selling game of the Mario franchise, if we're not including Mario Kart 8, which has been released on multiple consoles over the past 8 years, with over 40 million units sold. So it makes a lot of sense that Nintendo just sort of ran with this theme for a while, following it with Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario Land, Super Mario World, Super Mario Land 2, Super Mario World 2, aka Yoshi's Island, and then nothing. Well, at least in terms of 2D titles. I mean, we did get Sunshine in 64, but for over a decade, there was just silence from the Super Mario Bros. Series. Until finally in 2006, we get New Super Mario Bros., a reboot of the series with fresh graphics, new stages, and cool power-ups. It was actually the first game that I remember owning as a kid, so I have a lot of love and nostalgia for this game in particular. And of course, this reboot got its second installment on the Wii because, hey, if you combine a successful franchise on a successful console, you're basically printing out money. 2012 saw New Super Mario Bros. 2 and New Super Mario Bros. U. But ever since then, the series has become dormant again. I mean, yeah, you could maybe make a case for Super Mario 3D World and 3D Land being Nintendo's continuation of the platformer games, but it's right there in the name. These aren't 2D games. Of course, they're both good games and a lot of fun, but it's sort of like going to a shop and seeing that there aren't any apples being sold anymore, and the staff member going, well, that's not entirely true. Look, we have some great pears over there. It's a different game and experience even if it's good. So this brings me back to the actual question at hand. What actually happened to the 2D Super Mario Bros. Series? Well, the first possible answer to that question would be that they just weren't selling well enough, but that's flat out wrong. Both of the New Super Mario Bros. Installments for the DS and Wii sold over 30 million copies each, and the New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe version for the Switch sold just under 10 million copies. We're gonna forget about the games sold for the Wii U because, let's face it, unless you wanted a controller that doubles as a blunt murder weapon, nobody was buying that system. But the Switch has been a huge success, and porting the deluxe version has proven that these games will sell well. So from a business perspective, I don't see how Nintendo aren't capitalizing on this. The second answer might be a little more accurate and somewhat bittersweet. Nintendo haven't needed to play things safe. They don't have to cash in on an established franchise. Games like Odyssey would never exist if Nintendo just made new installments of previous games. We'd be on Galaxy 7 and Mario Kart 26 by this point if they didn't experiment with their games. Even with the platformer games like 3D World and 3D Land, Nintendo were consistently innovating and coming up with new ideas to keep these games fresh. This also means that every successful new game is a potential future sequel if Nintendo ever need a big hit. What Nintendo were doing here is simultaneously giving us quality games with actual effort put into them and devising a good business strategy which will cover them for years into the future. The only issue here is, the older 2D games are getting left behind. Now, hope is not lost for the die-hard 2D Mario Bros. Fanatics, who are currently on their 600th playthrough of the deluxe version. The series has currently been going through a quiet period for roughly the same amount of time as the last one. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the next few years, Nintendo comes out with a new Super Mario Bros. Game, with a bunch of new enemies, items, bosses, and gameplay features. One of the best features about the Super Mario Bros. Franchise is that they're constantly coming up with new ideas, which makes each game completely different from the last. Chris Pratt over here has gone through so many iterations of these games that it would be just lazy to take one of the current games, fundamentally change nothing but add some new levels and slap a Switch logo on it. I could be wrong, but I do genuinely think there'll be some kind of reboot for the series at some point. So here's to trusting Nintendo, and here's to the game that helped shape a part of my childhood.